All right, welcome back, everybody. Episode 51, Yard by Yard podcast. Um, we are here. Mike's just having some issues. Or it might be my headphones. Yeah, one headphone's working. That's unfortunate. Sorry, guys. Um, but we are here, episode 51, going over the college football rankings. Penn State finally hired a quarterback. I mean, a coach. We got a lot of things to talk about. Got a lot of good things to talk about. I'll go over the rankings first. 12-team playoff bracket came out. Obviously, the big news: Notre Dame got screwed. But I don't think they did because you lost to Miami straight up. You played a Miami team who you didn't beat, okay? And I don't think you deserve to be in if you're not in a conference, you don't play a conference championship game, you had two losses. One of those losses was to Miami, the other team who was up for grabs to get in the playoffs here. So I think the committee made the right decision here. And Notre Dame, if you're going to cry about it and not go play a bowl game, do something about it, okay? Play meaningful football games, join a conference, and do something. Let's get into the rankings, though. We have number one, Indiana. They won the Big Ten championship. We'll get to that. Number two, Ohio State. Number three, Georgia. Georgia not moving up kind of really shocked me. Number four, Texas Tech, that took care of business. And then we have number five, Oregon, going to be facing JMU in the first round. We have number eight, Oklahoma, having a rematch with Alabama. We have number six, Ole Miss, having a rematch with Tulane. Number 11, Tulane. And we have number 7, Texas A&M, playing number 10, Miami. So we have the bracket is set, ready to go. I'm very excited for it. I'm ready to see what happens. I'm very excited to just see what the playoffs are going to look like in general. I think we're going to have some really good games. Do I think the first round of games are going to be great? Look, I mean, all everyone's going to do is just shit on them as much as they can. Um, but at the end of the day, I mean, this is the format we have, and it's never going to be perfect. It's never going to be perfect. There's always going to be people upset. There's always going to be teams left out. That is just the way that this is going to go. There's not something there's no perfect way to do it. So I think it's kind of strange that some people are freaking out this much about it, but that's just something that happens. I'll get into it in a second, but I have a guest for us to join. We're going to go over the SC Championship with this guest. John.
I'm here.
Hey, John, you're here.
I'm here. And
He's
you got me on Zoom, which is way better than your moron friend Jake last week
yeah.
or last podcast.
That's on me. That's on me. I've bringing on guests. I've been fucking up bringing on the doing the phone call. I just call people, and I thought it's been working, but it's not working. It's not working one bit.
No, we couldn't hear a single thing he said, and you
You know
had an
what?
entire conversation with him,
Yep.
and everything he said, it sounded like a one-way conversation.
Yeah, it sounded like I was really talking to myself there. I listened to it back, and I was like, "This isn't going to be a good one." But thanks for joining, John. Guys, this is John. I've been trying to get on. John's the leader of the Pick'em that I'm in. Longtime friend, John.
I
John,
wouldn't
how
say
are you?
that. I'm good.
Okay,
I'm good.
okay,
I'm good.
okay. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. You say that. All right. Okay, that's interesting. All right, John. What do you want to get into before I start talking to you about? Because John went to Alabama, so we're gonna recap the SC championship game. Before I do that, John told me he had some questions for me, just pod related. What do you have for me, John?
Yeah, this was a lot more applicable when the coaching's various coaching openings were still available. I was going to ask you to rank the various openings of schools, and now that those are all filled,
Uh,
I guess I'll pivot. Can you
okay.
go ahead and just rank? If you were to rank your siblings, what would you do for that rankings instead? Since all the coaching openings are now filled.
Okay, siblings. Okay, all right. So there's three of them. So, mm, I guess I'll go. That's a tough one. We'll go John Paul first.
Wow,
Seniority. We'll go John Paul first.
wow,
Yeah, yeah.
that's pretty forward of you.
We'll go John Paul. I mean, this is going to be a pretty straightforward, easy one. John Paul first, Pierce 2, Manclair 3. I
Okay,
mean,
so you're a misogynist.
I'm not a. That's not true. That's not true. That's not true. I'm just closer in age to John Paul and Pierce than I am Mary Claire. That's just simple. That's simple.
Got it.
That's not misogynistic at
All
all.
right, whatever you say, Harrison Butker. Whatever you say.
Okay. You got anything else? Is that it?
No, that's about it.
Okay. All right. Cool. This is gonna be quick. Okay. So Georgia wins 28-7 against Alabama. Looks like this is just it kind of sums up the Kalen DeBoer era. I would say just a little soft, especially on the defensive side of the ball, and when you get a team that's gonna punch you in your face.
Right.
Just want to hear you talk about Alabama. I just want to -3 rushing yards. Can you just expand on that a little bit? Yeah. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, so Alabama has sucked for the last month.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's pretty fair to say that's an unbiased take. Didn't really play well against South Carolina. Didn't really play well against LSU. Still won, but didn't play well against LSU. Beat an Eastern Illinois team pretty handily, but whatever. Then didn't really put up a great performance against Auburn. Again, to be crystal clear, still beat Auburn and still beat LSU, in case anyone was unclear of the results of those games. Kind of laid an egg against Georgia. Ty Simpson hasn't really played great. Defense, I thought, played pretty well against Georgia, but kind of got him in some short field opportunities that Georgia took advantage of. Georgia exercised a lot of demons against Alabama. I don't know.
That one.
I don't know if they deserve to be in the playoffs as a whole. I know that's not what the question was, but
no, I mean, I appreciate you saying that because I've been having that kind of argument with myself the past like 48 hours.
Kind of like the last podcast episode with you arguing against yourself. Yeah, right.
Yes, essentially the last podcast episode. Every podcast episode. I think y'all deserved it mainly because of the chance of you can't penalize someone for going to the championship game. I think that's a big part of it. And you guys beat Georgia already. That is your best win of the season, and Georgia's only loss. So I don't think there was a reason. Do I think y'all should have dropped in the rankings? Yeah. I think you maybe should have dropped to 10, and then they would have put Miami up to 9. But I think y'all deserve to be in. But I mean, the argument was there. I will say that the argument was there, and it's a fair argument. But at the end of the day, that's what I thought. I think as an Alabama fan, I have a question for you. Do you think Kalen DeBoer lasts another year if he has a year like this?
Yes, he lasts another year. He made the SEC championship. What are you talking about?
Yes, but
Luke,
look
me in the eyes and say you wouldn't kill to go an SEC championship.
You don't. Of course, I'd kill to go an SEC championship. I went to Arkansas, but you look at last year. Coming off of Nick Saban, last year you go to the ReliaQuest Bowl and you lose to a bad Michigan team, and then this year you make it to the SEC championship. Yes, you're in the playoffs, but 3 losses. You and I both know that's not the Alabama standard, and Alabama fans aren't gonna sit with that for years. They're not gonna sit with that. But the one question good point is, who are you gonna get? I think it's obviously Lane Kiffin. I think Lane Kiffin will go to Alabama in a heartbeat.
No, that's not the question. The question is not who are you going to get. The question is if he's going to stay there or not for another year.
That is true. I think y'all could run him out of town. He's soft. He's soft.
Come on, man.
He's not a.
What are we doing?
I think so.
Look around the SEC. Look around the SEC. Brian Kelly gone. Hugh Freeze gone. Billy Napier gone. Your fat big boobed coach Sam Pittman gone. I mean, what are we talking about?
I'm just saying.
A coach made it to his SEC championship his second year. He was one SMU, close game last year away from making the playoffs. What are we talking about?
I mean, but also you were going to say that in 2 years, Ed Ogeron won a national championship at LSU, and then 2 years later he was fired. So you can use that same argument there.
Yeah, but I mean, he also had the starting quarterback and a Heisman winner in Joe Burrow.
Yes.
We had Jalen Milroe, a.k.a. Stephen Hawking, at quarterback last year.
All right. Yeah, I'll give you that one. I'll give you that one. Okay. Now switching gears, future wise, Alabama playing Alabama playing Oklahoma. You got the rematch against them. You go to
Hmm.
Norman this time. What are your
Hmm.
thoughts on that?
If we don't turn the ball over, I feel decent, but um, I mean, it all depends on what kind of Ty Simpson are we going to get.
Yeah, that is true.
Are we going to get December Ty Simpson, or are we going to get October playing Tennessee Ty Simpson? That's the ultimate factor.
Yeah, he's been looking pretty kind of like it's like when you get pressure on him, he looks like a little deer in headlights, I will say. He
Yeah.
doesn't do too well under pressure, and that's gonna be an issue playing Oklahoma because they have a good defense. But good thing Oklahoma's quarterback sucks right now and their offense
Yeah.
sucks. So you got a chance. You always have a chance against them.
Yeah. And all
Yeah.
things considered, Alabama got a pretty favorable
I
bracket
I would
slash path.
I would
So
say so as well. I would say so as well. I don't think Indiana is that favorable if you make it Indiana, but I think
uh
it's
yeah, but compared to Georgia or Ohio State, I'd rather play Indiana amongst those three.
really.
Probably.
You wouldn't play Georgia again?
I don't think so. I mean,
I
we
think if
spent the
I'm an
first
out,
5 minutes of this call talking about how they steamrolled us.
yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. You're pointing out good points. Pointing out good points. All right, that's kind of all I had for you with the recap. I just did want to go over. Yeah, I didn't do too great in the pick'em. I was looking at my record right before this. I won 104 and 129 this year, tied 10th.
Yeah, yeah, that'll lose you money 10 out of 10 times.
Yeah, I think you know, are we going to keep using Splash Sports or are we going to go back to that spreadsheet? I think that's what the whole group chat wants to know. People
Ah,
listening
yeah,
here.
doesn't make a difference to me. Actually, it
Okay.
does make a difference to
It
me. I'd
does
rather
make
use
it.
the app.
That's a lot of big work you can use.
Yeah.
I mean,
All
not a
right.
lot. Yeah, yeah. Well, all right, John. Well, I appreciate you coming on. Glad we were able to do this.
Yep. Thank you, Luke.
All right.
And pick 'em reminder, and thank you for all 4 followers of this podcast for listening to me. I appreciate you more than you'll ever know.
All right. Thanks, John. See
All
ya.
right.
All right. That was fun. Everybody, that's John. Been talking about John coming on for a little bit. That was pretty fun. Been knowing John for a long time. Great guy. Great guy. All right. That was our SEC recap. Bama didn't play good. Bama's in now, and Georgia made it. So, also, I didn't preface this. This is going to be the only episode this week because we have no great college games except for the Army Navy game. I'm going to pick it now. I'm picking Navy. Navy will win. We're just going to go through all the teams this week, um, and pick the NFL games and no college. Next, we have the Big 12 championship. Tech won 34-7. This looked like a game at the beginning, and then we realized, oh wait, Tech kind of woke up. Tech's defense woke up. It wasn't even Jacob Rodriguez, the linebacker, that a day. It was his right hand man who had a great day. He had that one hand interception. They just dominated them. And honestly, Texas Tech is one of the scariest teams going into the playoffs right now. I think I would be terrified to play them, their defense especially. And we know Texas Tech can score in a hurry. So they're just not getting talked about as enough as they should, and I think they are one of the most dangerous teams to go and win it all. Now, did they kind of get a shit draw with getting Oregon? Yes, they did, but I mean their defense is just insane. Oregon's really good, so if Oregon beats James Madison, we're assuming they're going to beat James Madison. That would be a really big game, and it'll be a really good win for them. But wouldn't be surprised if that doesn't happen. All right. Next, we have Duke and Virginia. We're going to leave Indiana, Ohio State at the end. Duke and Virginia. Duke won 27-20. Virginia, you are a joke. The ACC is a joke. I cannot believe 5-loss Duke won the ACC championship. Duke threw this game. I mean, Virginia threw this game away. They did not come ready to play. You get the roughing the passer call on the overtime play that sets you back about 40 yards, or not even 40. I think it was about 20 yards or so that set him back because there was another flag on top of that. And the first play, you try a trick play. Chandler Morris, and he just threw a pick straight to the guy at the end of the game. I will give him this. It was a very entertaining game, very fun game to watch. I mean, the touchdown that Virginia had to tie the game up right before the end of regulation was a great throw and great catch. So it was a very exciting and fun game. But Virginia and the ACC, like that was the other thing here. If Virginia won this game, they would have been the lone ACC team in, and you don't have you don't have a team like JMU making it. Okay, so I they got to fix it. But it's just something I want to say again. Like they got to fix it. You're never going to get it perfect, though. There is always going to be people who are upset. Always going to be people who don't agree with it. So you're always going to have issues, right? But it's just never going to be perfect. It really isn't. Look, I bet you one day they're going to expand this to 24 teams. The Big Ten ADs are already trying to do it. I think the perfect number of teams has always been 12, but sure, make it 16. Do it. I just think that one, athletic directors should not be the one in charge of this. I don't know if you go back to the BCS system, like computer system, you do journalists do it. You definitely don't let journalists do it. I'm retracting that right now. Those are idiots. Um, but I'm big on the fact that you got to get new people in there because the people picking these games are just morons. They really are. They don't use their brains. They're not great. Hunter Yurachek, I'm looking at you. Yeah, yeah. But Virginia, you fucked your season here and a chance to go to the playoffs. Duke, great way to end the season, but you had 5 losses, so it's just crazy. Good for Duke. All right, last game, Indiana 13, Ohio State 10. Damn, this was an awesome game. This is what I've been saying about Ohio State this entire season. They haven't played a good opponent. They really haven't. The best team they play was Michigan, and Michigan can't throw the ball downfield. They play an Indiana team that is well-rounded, plays really good on all sides of the ball. Fernando Mendoza took a shot at the beginning of the game, came off, and then gets right back in the game. He played his ass off, throwing beautiful balls downfield. That interview he had after the game was super awkward. If I had to guess right now, he's going to win the Heisman. I would give it to him. But it was more of, this is great for Indiana, but for me, this is more of Ohio State. Like, this is embarrassing because this was your season. Actually, no, this wasn't your season. This is what people have been saying about you all year. The people who really have been watching have been saying, yeah, they look good, but who have they played? They haven't played anybody. Let's see what they do when they face a real test, and that real test is always going to be Indiana in the Big Ten championship game. And when it came down to it, Indiana's defense stood tall. Ohio State had 2 sequences in the red zone that Indiana held them to, a field goal and then a missed field goal. So holding a very good offense like that to, that amount of points is really, really impressive for this Indiana team. And just, I mean, the turnaround that Cignetti has done here has been incredible. I'm really just I think it's one of the best coaching hires in all of college football, like in the past 50 years, maybe of all time, potentially. The turnaround that he has done with Indiana. Indiana wasn't just a bad team. Indiana was an awful team. Indiana was an afterthought of the Big Ten. When you thought of Big Ten football, Rutgers came to mind before Indiana did. And now he has made Indiana the #1 overall seed in the college football playoff, winners of the Big Ten, and just a dominating team. So, I mean, this is awesome. I think, Ohio State, you still are ranked #2. So, that's not a big fall for you. But I think this will wake them up a little bit and wake a lot of other people up in the media that they haven't played anybody, and they played a team that punched them in the mouth, and they weren't able to execute. So it really, I'm hoping this is raising some eyebrows for some people on Ohio State. Yeah, I really hope it does. But I do think Ohio State, I think they'll make it probably to the semifinal game. But depending on who they play, look, I mean, it's like I've been saying, they aren't that impressive. They aren't that impressive. All right. Now we will get into the NFL. We're about to jump into the NFL here. Bills 39, Bengals 34. This was an exciting game, a very exciting game. I loved watching this game. I loved watching Joe Burrow back out there. T. Higgins was playing his ass off. But one of the major parts of this game was that the Bills defense were the winners of this game. They're the reason they won this game. They're able to make stops. Really when the Bengals were driving down the field to score, they played really good. Josh Allen, he does the same thing every single week, and he plays his ass off. He was 22 for 28, 251 yards and 3 total touchdowns. He was their leading rusher as well, with 78 yards on 9 attempts, with 1 touchdown. He had that one like 40-yard touchdown that was just prime Josh Allen. Dawson Knox played really great. Shakir did. I mean, Joe Burrow played good. He played good. Besides the 2 interceptions that weren't his fault, were balls that were batted in the air and then picked off. He was 25 at 36, 284, and 4 touchdowns. And 2 of those touchdowns was to T. Higgins, who had 6 receptions for 2 touchdowns and 92 yards. So this was a very fun game to watch. A very an offensive battle we saw coming. It being in the snow just made it 10 times better. Going away from this game, I'm feeling a little bit better about the Bills' defense, but I've got a little worry about James Cook because he didn't really, he had 2 instances here where he had the one big play where he ran and it looked like he fumbled the ball in the end zone. Then they give him the ball back. They're able to, go down the field, and he fumbles at the 1 yard line. So it's something to watch about James Cook. I hope he's not just going to start fumbling all over the place. I hope not. But it was a really really fun game to watch. I think definitely the most fun of the day. All right, next one is Jaguars 36, Colts 19. I mean, the main point about this game is poor Colts fans. This is not good for them. Not good at all. Daniel Jones tears his Achilles. Riley Leonard now has a knee injury. Were you going to be confident with Riley Leonard to begin with? No, not at all. Not at all. No one's confident with Riley Leonard. They're now bringing out, bringing to work in, bringing in to work out Philip Rivers, which is pretty crazy. Um, yeah, just very sad for Colts fans because this was a season where everything was clicking, everything was looking right, and you're looking like possibly the best team in the NFL, and then it all just crumbles, and it's just unfortunate to see. Um, you know, Potentially, getting out of the playoffs here. I don't know how that's going to work itself out. But on the other side, the Jaguars. The Jaguars are a very good team. I said it in the offseason. I said they could potentially win the AFC. I'm not going to hold back from that because they are playing really good. And the person who's playing even better and been the highlight of this is Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence in this game was 17 for 30, 244 yards and 2 touchdowns. Travis Etienne was also awesome in this game. Rushed the ball 21 times or 20 times for 74 yards and 2 touchdowns. It was a very good game for the Jaguars offense to get going. They're now 9-4. They're sitting there first in the AFC South. You've already played the Texans you've already played the Texans twice. Now you just have to, keep your head above water in the AFC South and beat the Colts again, and you will be okay. I am, very. I like the Jaguars. I do, and I think a lot of this too is Liam Cohen. Liam Cohen has been great, and ever since he told Trevor Lawrence, they got to start letting the shit rip. He's been playing his ass off, and they've been playing really good as well. So keep your eye on the Jaguars. If you've been listening to the show every week, I've been saying it every week. I've been saying in the beginning of the season they're a great team and to watch out for them. So I hope I'm getting the credit where it's deserved, guys. But yeah, good for the Jaguars. The Colts. This is turning into the season from hell very quickly, and that's not fun to see. All right, next we have Packers and Bears. Packers 28, Bears 21. What a game. I would say this is probably I want to say this was the game of the I'll say this is the game of the day. Caleb Williams looked great. He really did. All everyone is really going to talk about is that interception he had. Excuse me. All everyone's going to really talk about is the interception he had to lose the game, but I want to talk about just how well he played and the throws he was making. He was making some incredible throws. He was 19 of 35, only had 186 yards, but 2 touchdowns and 1 interception. Rushing the ball, he was very effective too. He ran the ball 4 times for 15 yards, and a lot of his rushes were just escapes, and on these bootleg plays, They were on big fourth downs, big third downs, so he was making the plays needed to. I wouldn't worry about Caleb at all. I think this was just a really tough game against a really tough defense in the Bears. Now, they tried to run the ball a ton. The Bears did, and they didn't have as much success as we've seen them have in the previous games, especially against the Eagles. DeAndre Swift was the leading rusher with 13 attempts on 63 yards. But on the flip side, on the other side, I keep fucking up the flip side and the other side, the Packers. The Packers are really good. You're now 9-3-1, leaders of the AFC North, of the NFC North. The NFC is crazy too because now the Bears were just first and they're 9-4 now. They're seventh in the NFC, which is insane. Josh Jacobs was great. Jordan Love was great. Jordan Love, 17 of 25, 234 yards, 1 interception, and 3 touchdowns. Sorry. Christian Watson lit the world on fire here in the passing game and the receiving game. 4 catches for 89 yards and 2 touchdowns. It's kind of beginning to show what the Packers can do. If the Packers are hitting on every front, they run the ball really effectively, and then you have Jordan Love too, who can sit back and hit a bunch of receivers, much of these receivers that they've drafted and developed here. Romeo Doubs, Jaden Reed, Christian Watson. Matthew Golden has been hurt; he hasn't been playing as much, but when he gets his opportunities, he's really good as well. So, really good playing here from both of these teams, and I'm excited to see where both these teams end up at the end of the season because they play again. But I think these are both very good teams. I think the Packers are obviously better than the Bears, but I don't think the Bears are a bad team. Like if this is a Bears team we saw last year, this team would have gotten the brakes blown off of them, every time that the Packers, responded with a touchdown. That's not the case here. I think this Bears team is very built tough, and I think we're going to see the Bears in the playoffs here. And you've got an easy schedule. You got a kind of an easy schedule down the road, so I think you should be okay. Last game, favorite one to talk about: Texans 20, Chiefs 10. The dynasty's over. They're mathematically eliminated from the AFC West consideration. They've won the championship 9 years in a row. Too bad. So sad. Sucks to suck, Chiefs fans. Your luck was going to run out eventually, and now it's run out with everyone on your team can't catch a pass. You can't have anyone be – now we don't root for injuries, so it sucks that people are getting injured. Travis Kelce can't catch a pass. Rashid Rice can't catch a pass. Patrick Mahomes isn't looking good. He's throwing really bad interceptions. You just hate to see it. You do. No, I love to see it. I hate the Chiefs, and I love to see it. I love to see them crumble. I love to see them not play good. So this is really this is music to my ears and to my eyes watching how bad that they have been. Mahomes was 14 of 33, 160 yards and 3 touchdowns. I don't think I've ever read a stat line for Mahomes like that ever in my life. He truly played awful. He was also the leading rusher with 59 yards on 7 carries. Xavier Worthy was the leading receiver with 3 receptions for 55 yards. They're 6-7. They're not going to make the playoffs, guys. They're not. Now, on the other side, the Texans, I think, are the hottest team in football. They're now 8-5. C.J. Stroud was 15 of 31, 203 yards and 1 touchdown. Nico Collins played his ass off, 4 receptions, 121 yards. But the biggest takeaway is I've been saying for the past week the Broncos defense are the best defense in the NFL. They're now the second best. The Texans defense is the best defense in the NFL. They are remarkable. They shut down every single team that they are playing. They don't allow the other team to breathe when the quarterback's back in the pocket. Nothing like that is efficient for them. Nothing like that is too hard for them. They're shutting down pretty much every single team they play on the offensive side of the ball, and their secondary is really good with Lassiter and Tua Toto and Derek Stingley Jr. You have Al-Shaair. You have Will Anderson and Daniil Hunter both rushing the ball. You have very good assets all over the defensive side of the ball, and they are just killing opposing quarterbacks right now and making it so difficult for them to be successful. And I love it seeing the Chiefs that happened. When Rashid Rice got smacked, that was awesome. Jalen Petrie smoked him. But yeah, the Texans, look, as a Broncos fan, we're at the number one spot in the AFC. If we get to the number two seed and we somehow fall to that and we finish the number two seed going into the playoffs and things hold right now, the number seven seed would be the Houston Texans, and I am terrified to play them. I am terrified to play them. I mean, we beat them earlier this year, but I would be terrified to play them and that defense. That defense, they are a completely different team. You have CJ Stroud back, and the defense seems to be playing at a completely different level, and they're playing their ass off. So that's the scariest team in the NFL right now for sure. Good win for the Texans. Sucks for the Chiefs. Too bad. So sad. All right. We're going to finish off rapid fire picking the games this week, okay? Because running on fumes here. I'm not going to lie. Chargers at Chiefs. Chiefs are a 4.5-point favorite. The over-under is 43.5. I was just talking about how the Chiefs are going to lose, get knocked out of the playoffs. I think they bounce back here, though. A noon game. You're not in prime time. Not a lot of people are going to be talking about you. Now, a lot of people are going to be watching this game, but not as much as it would if you had if you didn't have seven losses. So I had the Chiefs winning this game. I think this is going to be another one of those bullshit games that they just find a way to win, and they're going to beat the Chargers, which would help the Broncos out in the AFC West standing situation because I'm pretty sure that would just make all. I think all the Broncos would have to do is beat the Chiefs again, and then the Chargers at the end of the season. Then you lock up the AFC West. That would be great. That would be great. But I'm taking the Chiefs here. All right, Bills minus 5.5 at Patriots. This is the game for the AFC East. Over under is 49.5. This is the hat and T-shirt game for the New England Patriots. But I think the Bills get revenge. I think they do. I think you got a home and home situation here. The Pats beat the Bills when they were in Buffalo. I think you have the Bills beat the Pats here, and I think it's Josh Allen and this defense. I think the defense might have an awakening after last week. I think this defense is going to start playing really well. Now, do they have holes? Obviously, yes, they do. But I think there's going to be enough plays to be made to, you know, get rid of the issues that you have on the defensive side of the ball. So I have the Bills winning this one, and they make the AFC East standings and the race just a little bit more difficult for the Patriots. All right, last two. Packers -2 at Broncos, over under 43.5. We're going with the Broncos here. This is an easy spot where the Packers lose this game. This is a big game for the Broncos. Broncos country and Mile High is going to be up. And Adam going really well. Yeah, I'm taking the Broncos here. I think we win this game. I think the defense has to play really well. The Packers are a very good team, and what's going to really test us is the defense here. The Packers defense is really good. Bo has to play a really good game. We have to be able to run the ball really efficiently too, because if we're not able to run the ball really efficiently, then that is just going to cause more issues for us on in the passing game, because Bo is, as much as I love Bo, if Bo has to sit back and just let it rip all game, he's going to be inconsistent. So being able to balance that out with a good run game is going to be very helpful. RJ Harvey's been playing really good lately, so hopefully he can keep that going. But I'm nervous about playing. I'm nervous about playing that Packers defense, especially when it comes to playing Micah Parsons, and that's going to be an issue. It's either going to be Mike McGlinchey or Garrett Bowles going up against him. I'm way more confident in Garrett Bowles going up against him. So I'm taking the Broncos, but I'm nervous. I'm very nervous. Last game, Lions at Rams. Rams are a 5.5-point favorite. Over-under is 55. I got the Rams here. I think the Rams, I've said it before, I think they're possibly the best team in the NFL. They're obviously the best team in the NFC, but they're really damn good. And I think the injuries to the Lions are going to come up and bite them in the ass here in this game, and I think we're going to see a Lions team, and we're going to see how injured they are, because there's one thing that Sean McVay loves to do, and he loves to find new ways to attack a defense, and he's probably the best in the NFL at doing that. And now with Puka Nacua back and playing as healthy as ever, Devontae Adams playing awesome, you're now mixing in Blake Corum with this rushing attack while you also have Kyron Williams as well. They seem to just have every single option on their team available for them and ready at every single point in the game. So I'm very excited to see what happens here. but I'm gonna go with the Rams. I think they're just the better team, and I think the Rams win this game. All right, everybody, that is the episode. I appreciate everybody listening. It was a fun episode. I'm glad John came on. Thank you, John, for coming on the show. Episode 51. It'll be out Tuesday. It'll be out today as you're listening to it. Reminder again, only show this week because there's no other college football games except for Army, Navy, and Pick and Navy. That's all we're going to do. I'll be back next week with 2 full episodes because we'll have the college football episodes next week. All right, guys, thank you so much. I appreciate everybody listening. And as always, enjoy the football.